for important science and nutrition. That's what I see supplements with.
Thanks, Drew. Have we answered your question then? Thank you. Mark? Has anyone got any other questions? Any other questions on nutrition? There's a chap here at the front.
I'm trying to cut my body fat levels down. I eat high protein, and I also eat a tremendous amount of fruit. And the fat loss has stopped basically. I'm not losing any more weight. Would you recommend cutting down on the fruit because of the natural sugar?
What do you call a tremendous amount of fruit?
I have a lot of fruit smoothies, whole fruit smoothies.
Are they homemade or are they?
They're homemade. We have about 3 to 4 pints of that.
How many items of fruit would be in that, in each smoothie?
Probably 3 or 4 vegetables and about 3 or 4 fruit.
Per smoothie? Yeah. I mean, you've got to look at your whole diet, obviously, for us to be able to say why you're not losing the fat like you'd like to. You have to look at the whole diet. But it does sound that, I certainly wouldn't want to cut the fruit out, don't get me wrong. It does sound like you're perhaps having a little bit too much. You've got to remember the fruit, if you have a lot of it, it's quite calorific. And if you're having 3 or 4 items of fruit, excluding vegetables per smoothie, that could be 350, 400 calories per smoothie. And if you're having how many smoothies a day?
Well, I make blend the fork, and it makes 3 pints, and then I split it out into glasses for it.
So that could be a few hundred calories extra of fruit a day on top of what you're already having. So I'm not saying cut it out, but maybe cut it down to a maximum of 3 pieces of fruit a day and make the others up in veg and spread those fruit during the day as well. You got any comments on that, Drew?
I've got nothing to add to that.
Nothing to add? Done well.
We've agreed for once.
We've agreed for once. It's good though that we work together, but we do have slightly different opinions. And sometimes if I get a questionnaire from a client and I'll look through it and I'll think who's going to be more suitable to help this person, and then it'll be me or Drew or someone else on the team. Any other questions?
Hi guys. My question is similar to what's just been asked, but it's in the opposite way. I'd like to know what sort of foods can you eat that have enough nutrition to make you gain good muscle weight and maintain that. I've heard from various people like you should eat about 20 grams of protein and 40 grams of carbs, and that's all you're looking for. And so many other stuff, so I'd like to know from you what your response is.
Good question. A question that we get asked probably more than any other question. How to get big? What do you eat to get big? Basically what you're asking, what sort of ratios of the nutrients, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. What were you referring to? Protein, fats and carbs, what we call macronutrients, whereas vitamins and minerals are what we call micronutrients. And you hear different theories on what ratios of the macronutrients we should have, how many percent protein, how many percent fat, and how many percent carbohydrates for whatever goal. Now, if any of you have ever read my work, and it perhaps differs slightly from Drew here, I don't count figures. One of my mottos that I put in my articles is, eat food, not figures. Okay? The only figures you should be looking at are the weight of your portion sizes. Okay? Now, I'm not saying completely ignore macronutrients, far from it, because you're competing with somebody on the mic. You need to have a good appreciation of which foods are good sources of protein, which are good sources of good fats, and which are good sources of carbohydrates. And then, I referred to the glycemic index carbs a few minutes ago. You need to know which are the low GI foods. So, I won't answer your question with figures, I'm afraid, but I will say that you should be eating, to put on size, 6 or 7 meals or snacks a day, and each of those should be contain good amounts of low GI carbs, good amounts of protein, and there should be plenty of fruit and veg during the day. And as far as essential fats, during the course of the day, there should be a good amount of that as well. Okay? So I don't put figures because what you said, there's so many different opinions, and that is because there is no decent scientific basis behind it. It is all plucked out of thin air. But then when someone writes an article and puts it in, and they're a doctor and it's based on credibility and everything, someone else writes an article, references that article, and it's based on credibility, and therefore it becomes fact. You see what I mean? There's a lot of this on the internet. So it's not known. There have been studies. The studies have been good, some have been a bit better better, and some have been rubbish, okay? But really what you need is not really known. And if you look at the scientists, they'll say you need a lot less protein than we all know as hard trainers that we really do. You know, you've probably seen this. And if you get some of my dietetic colleagues that I used to work with, they go, you don't need that much protein, but I'll be sitting there giving diet advice and having my protein drinks in my breaks. But I know, because I'm a bodybuilder as well, and I know, and I have read some work by some top professors in protein metabolism, and they've said, although the evidence doesn't show that we need the really high protein, they're not ruling it out because they've seen it anecdotally in some of the strength athletes. So they're acknowledging it now, and we all know it's true. Have you got anything to add to that, Drew?
Yeah. With bodybuilding and, you know, with gaining muscle and hopefully not too much fat at the same time or dropping fat, you can talk about the nutrients and so on and so forth and that kind of thing, but there's a different way to look at it as well. Nutrition is boring. Why? Well, we have to do it 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, 7 times a day, 8 times a day possibly, every day to get the job done. Yeah? It's not like training. You go training 4 times a week, 5 times a week, whatever. You know, you go in there, you hit the weights, bang, you know, it's good fun, you get out, it's hard work, but you know, nutrition is something you have to do every day. So, what you have to do is make it easy to get near to optimum. We don't know what optimum is. You know, as James was saying, with studies and things like that, we can tell when somebody's not having enough of nutrient X or nutrient Y, and we can say when they're having too much of it possibly. But optimum for their goals and their health, that's slightly more fuzzy. So what you do is buy good foods at the supermarket. You build a shopping list that revolves around your goals. Yeah? If it's not in your house, you can't eat it. So, you know, if you go to the fridge and there's nothing there, then you're not going to get that protein, you're not going to get that carbohydrate. So many ratios go out the window. If you've got no salmon, if you've got no chicken, if you've got no whole grain foods or no veg, you know, the nutrients go out the window. Protein, carbohydrate, fat, interesting, you know, we don't quite know what, for every individual, what is optimum, whatever. Vitamins and minerals, phytonutrients, all those kind of things you find in fruit and veg. Phytonutrients, half the time, we don't even know what's in them. So, you know, don't worry too much about the amounts, just eat good foods and make sure that you're taking the steps to eat them every day. Calories are important, they're the basis. Then the foods, the macronutrients, you know, where you got them from, proteins, carbohydrates and fats, and what you chose to get those things from, they're the second tier of importance, and then timing on top of that. So having loads of carbohydrates or a good amount of carbohydrate around training, getting good, you know, protein spread through the day nicely, you know, wallop of protein before you go to bed, get good fats every day, that kind of thing. But the most important thing is you make it happen. Yeah, it happens. You know, success happens in the supermarket. Success happens around work. You know, how many people eat at work here but don't bring their own food in? Well, look around work and take a list from every eatery around work. Just give, you know, supply something that conforms to your needs. That's where success happens. It's planning. Yeah. Nutrient ratios kind of go out the window if you haven't got the job done planning wise. That's my take on it. Consistency. It's the most important thing. Yeah? Thank you. Example?
Yeah, just to sum it up, you just need to eat 6 or 7 times a day, plan ahead, and eat good foods all the time. And one thing just to add to that as well, there's a lot of guys exhibiting here today saying supplements, most of them, okay? And obviously they're all saying how great their products are, and I'm not disputing that, but one thing you need to remember is supplements. They only supplement an already good diet, okay? If they were as magic as some of them claim to be, they wouldn't be called supplements, they'd be called instead-ofs, okay? So they supplement. If you remember that rule of thumb, you won't go wrong, okay? Have we answered your question, mate?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?